This is a demonstration of Wirecast. 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 This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Yeah, right. The main thing that I want to say today is thank you. And I could say thank you so many times to people in this room and to people who aren't in this room, who've been here over the 15 years we've been in this building. That this is a monumental accomplishment of us. So I'll come back to that. But Kirsten, come on up. Let's see if we can do this. And would you, it's just the right hand button.
Are you going to sit in here?
Yeah, you're going to sit here. Oh, yeah.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Oh, you need a, oh no, we don't need a mic. You need a mic. You need the hand mic. We have our tech stuff really together here, you can see. We've been rehearsing nunts.
Do you have the sheet music?
The sheet music is there. Laura, could you hand me the sheet music? Thank you. And
Capo 4. You got your capo?
oh, capo 2, huh? It was here.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
There it is. Step on that button, the front one. Yeah. There we go. There's a lot of little details to these. What are we, capo 2, 4?
Yeah. Oh, 3, pardon me.
3? You sure you're on 4?
We're doing this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, capo 3. I'll fix it, yeah.
But you're on 4.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you, Robert.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Shall I teach them the chorus first?
Go to the chorus.
Okay. So some of you may know in a former life, I was a choir director for a Catholic church. So I'm going to teach you guys the chorus to this song before we try it, because it's always easier to catch on that way. Okay, so are we on the right? I think we are. Is it the chorus that's up there on the screen? Okay, wonderful. So it just goes like this. So I'll sing it once, and then you sing it with me. Okay, it goes like this.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and the laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Okay, let's do it together. You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and the laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Great. So let's try it from the beginning, Robert. Yeah?
Go.
All right. So there's a little intro. Kind friends all gathered around. There's something I would say brings us all together here, has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside, where strangers are as family and loneliness can't hide. You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and the laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain. I've learned to love the wind. I've been up up before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, though I didn't know how. Like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. You must give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and the laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born of fire, it's planted like a seed. Love can't give you everything, but it gives you what you need. Love comes when you're ready, love comes when you're afraid. Will give your greatest adventure the best friend you have made. So give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and the laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. One more time on the chorus. Give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and the laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
Thank you for the technical wizardry, Laura.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
This is the most, I've read this more times at PIMC than any other document. It's from Mr. Rogers. A friend of mine visited a beautiful monastery where dozens of monks, most of whom were in their 70s and 80s, were living. This is a place where once 60 to 70 men spent their lives studying and following a rule of very strict living, praying together 7 times a day, 7 days a week. They worked hard and were successful. My friend asked one of the monks why he felt that over the years the community had dwindled from 60 to 12. His reply was, "We did everything right." And somewhere in all that successful praying and work and living, we lost the most important thing of all. The thing that was so contagious and that attracted people to us. We lost the naked love. Little by little, the success replaced the love. Oh, sure, you can have love and success, but the love must remain first, always first. Natural, affirming, inclusive, naked love. Love and success, always in that order. It's that simple, and it's that difficult. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Now, one wire was forgotten, but it's here.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
All right. I put together a brief slideshow, which hopefully will just work. Oh,
This
looking good.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
speaks for itself, really. It was quite a trip for me making this, because I went back over all the pictures that I've taken and have been sent to me over the last 15 years. And wow, what an amazing thing. And how many people. So let's see if it'll work. Slideshow.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Why is it not running? Oh, it's loaded. It's downloading. Okay. They were all downloaded already. Oh, we're getting close. Hate to wait. What?
You are a ray of the eternal sun. Your love is fire igniting fire, the spark of new conceived desire. When I'm a seed in frozen sod, you are a ray of eternal sun. You are a shower cool and bright that springs with nourishing delight, a precious gift. You are the air that holds the fragrance of all the flowers I have grown. You are my beloved. You are my one. You are the air that holds the fragrance of all the flowers I have grown. You are a deep and quiet land.
You are the earth in which I live, the ruins of my darkest days.
And in your patient hands they're warmed and slowly, beautifully transformed. You are my beloved. You are my one. When I'm a seed in frozen sod, you are a ray of eternal sun. You are my beloved. You are my one. You are the air that holds the fragrance of all the flowers I have grown. We are a circle strong entwining that unites the greening days and the fading nights, our endless endings and beginnings, my love, our endless endings and beginnings, my love. You are my beloved. You are my one. And I'm a seed in frozen sod. You are a ray of eternal sun.
Oh, there we go. Ruth Dennison.
This is a demonstration of
so how am I doing?
Wirecast.
50. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the Buddha. We maybe could have the front lights on, maybe all the lights on. Could somebody turn them on? Laura, thank you. Oh, a glass of water
This
appeared.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
It could be a very long story, but I'm going to keep it very brief. I met Ruth 40-some years ago, and quite a friendship, quite a studentship developed that over time developed into a friendship. And in 1990, she wrote the first $10,000 check and handed it to me and said, "Robert, start a center."
This is a
And I went,
demonstration of Wirecast.
I don't know how to do that. But then help came. My partner at the time, Nancy Turner, was good with real estate and remodeling, and Doug and Jim were there from the very beginning. Doug Pullen is not here today. He sends his sorrow. His wife's brother died, and they're having an all-day memorial service today. So I had been teaching. I started teaching in Portland in 1979. And
This
had been
is a
gathered, it was the Portland
demonstration of
Vipassana Sangha,
Wirecast.
and that had gained some strength, and then we made it 5 different places. And then in 1990, at the encouragement of Ruth, we started talking about getting a center, and we incorporated as a corporation, and every step of the way I was like, oh God, I'm afraid it won't work. But here, look at this. All that worry was for nothing. It really served no purpose. But we bought the building. It took
This is a
humongous
demonstration
amount
of
of work.
Wirecast.
We raised in 4 days $476,000. And we paid cash. And then we had some loans to pay. But we had incredible benefactors, particularly Ruth Dennison. And so we started having classes. I was here alone. I was doing everything. And it grew and grew and grew, and Doug was teaching then, and Jim was teaching in Beaverton.
Wirecast.
And we would have weekend retreats and things like that. And then, I don't know, how long ago was it, Kate?
About 7 years, I think, because Avi's been here a couple years,
Right.
and was here 5 years.
So after I'd been here about 7 years, Kate, we decided I needed a little help. And Lordy, did I need help. And Kate came in and
This is a
brought a
demonstration
business
of
structure to it, and
Wirecast.
her warm heart, and connected more people. And all of a sudden we were blossoming. And sometime around then, had the teachers' training begun then? I think it began in 2009. Anyway, at a certain point, I've had today in mind for a long time. I've had such great consultants, and that we needed, if the center was going to persist and grow, we needed more teachers. And so we
This
had a
is a
3-year
demonstration
teacher
of
training
Wirecast.
program. And all of our teachers that are here today, with the exception of Gary. Where's Gary? Gary came along later, fully fledged. And so then and now we have these really competent teachers who are doing their classes and teaching and creating a following of their own. And so we continue to grow. A few years ago, Kate retired, which I can say sort of without resentment now. It was a shock when it came. And then Avi came. And for the last 2 years, Avi has been here building more and more of the system together. And it's as you see, look at this crowd. PIMC is really functioning as a center.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay. This is back to thank you. Please raise your hand if you've done anything in a volunteer role here at PIMC. Look at this. This place runs because of volunteerism. And we have a very high percentage of participation. And if you're not volunteering now, we could use your help still. There's so much to do in a place like this.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Let me just go quiet for a second and see what else is there. Well, let me go forward onto the plan. And one of the main reasons we're together here today. The fact is, I'm not going to be here forever.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
My intention is to teach for another 10 years, but you never know. And PIMC is now strong enough that it would persist if I were to suddenly disappear. But it needs to be stronger and more. There's a classic thing of the founder syndrome. The founder, everything goes through the founder of an organization until she or he learns to step aside or gets dragged out. And I'd rather step aside. and in that stepping aside, it allows lots more creativity to come forth. And so over the last couple of years, the board and I have been chewing this over and planning and so on. And Gregory Malouf, one of our esteemed teachers, is coming at the end of this month to rent office number 7, which is downstairs there. There's 8 offices downstairs that provide rent and provide a lovely home for various therapists of different stripes. And he's going to start a half-time psychotherapy practice and move into doing the PIMC manager role, doing the administration stuff and working hand in glove with Avi. And so I'm going to be handing off that stuff. As I handed off the banking and so many things over the years, I'm going to be stepping out of management. We're thinking of it more as an apprenticeship. The other thing that is, I know the nuts and bolts of this building like nobody else. And there are things here that are very
of
weird.
Wirecast.
And so it's like, you want to turn that off over there, well, you go out front. If you want to turn off the power in one of the offices down here, it's switch number 7 out front there. So there's some strange things. And so we're going to create an information base, a wiki base, and so I'm going to be handing that off. And so it'll be a very gradual transition. And what that does for me is it frees me up to teach more and to teach in a way that I can offer classes and say, you're in this class? Come and meet with me once or twice during the class. So I'll be able to be much more engaged with the community rather than doing that other stuff behind the scenes. And there's another piece, and I've done a little bit of this, but I want to become more involved with ecumenical ministries and the various other social action groups, so that PIMC has a place in this challenging time that we're having.
This is a
so, and I guess I'll say one other thing about the transition, with the tireless help of Laura Musikansky, who has held my hand and worked with me and so on. The book that we've been working on for 4 years of my Dharma talks edited down is very close to going to the publisher. So it should be out in about 6 months. And that too will be opening up more of a way to bring the Dharma and PIMC to the world. So
this is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Teachers come next. Let me see. Ah, yes. Teacher Council update. Would you like to start out? Or? When is Doyle? I was going to do Doyle last. We could do Doyle now. You want to do Doyle first? Let's do Doyle. Here we go. Doyle is joining us from...
Hello, Robert, and our esteemed board of directors, my colleagues on the Teachers Council, and all of you, my beloved Dharma brothers and sisters. I'm so glad to get this opportunity to be with you, at least remotely. At the time you'll be watching this, I am at a business conference in Phoenix, and I really regret not being able to be there in person with you, but I thought this might be a decent enough substitute. So we're celebrating so many great things in our community this morning. And one of the things that I asked Robert that I might be able to share in celebration is the tremendous growth in our community and among so many of you around doing what Marshall Rosenberg called making life more wonderful for each other. That was one of his slogans. Of course, Marshall Rosenberg is the man who birthed nonviolent communication into the world back in the 60s and 70s and beyond. So over the 10 years that I've been part of the community, I've been encouraged by Robert and the other teachers and so many of you to share nonviolent communication. And I don't have an exact count, but I'm quite sure that over the course of those 10 years, I've been able to share it with over 150 of you who have been part of the community. And so thank you for your support. Thank you for your dedication to making life more wonderful for yourselves, for your spouses and partners, for your children, your parents, for your co-workers and bosses or employees. Thank you for taking this work and dedicating yourselves to it and spreading it around. I also want to express my appreciation for my colleague, my friend, and my fellow giraffe, Kirsten Smith. Kirsten, thank you so much for saying yes to my invitation a couple years ago to come and teach with me when I saw just how much nonviolent communication had impacted your life, how enthusiastic you were for it, and seeing your love of our community and knowing that together we could do way more in sharing this work than I could do by myself. So thank you, my dear, for your friendship, your hard work, and your love of the Dharma and nonviolent communication. To the rest of you, thank you. Those of you who have already taken the course and who go out there every day and make it a part of your life and share your empathy and your compassion. Thank you for being agents of peace in the world. And I just encourage you to keep learning, keep growing in it, and keep sharing it as often as you can. All right, I love you all so very much. I wish you all peace and joy. And again, let's keep making life more wonderful for our community and for everyone who comes through the doors and beyond. Love you.
Yay, Doyle. Christine.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Why don't you stand up too?
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine. It's been since 2003, since my last non-meditation day. No. That's just what it sounded like. He does the refuge recovery stuff. I couldn't. Anyway, yes, I came here in 2003, and I have to say this place has changed so much since then. I mean, for one, 2003, we didn't have a building, but now we do. And just the volunteering, the togetherness, the classes that we have. We now have this lovely group of teachers and a board, which is just amazing. We've got a lot of leadership. Robert has been with us the whole time and has been loving us and teaching us how to be teachers and how to be leaders, which has been really great. He's a lovely model to follow. And so we actually have, as the teachers, we have a teachers council meeting that happens every month. And in that teachers council meeting, we talk about things that we could do as a teachers council to help all of you progress in the ways that you'd like to progress along in the Dharma path. And so we talk about what classes we might offer and what things we might do. And that's been a lovely thing to just grow together in that way. And for me, I've really enjoyed this journey. I came here as very much a non-teacher. I'm never going to teach. This is never going to be my thing. Robert was like, I see you teaching someday. And that I've learned since is sort of the mark of, maybe that is actually going to happen. But a leadership role was never one that I saw myself in, mainly because I came from a family that really discouraged that sort of thing. In fact, if you're a leader, you're the target. That's so. I was like, well, I don't think I want to be that. But this teacher role has really helped me in this leadership place, and I find myself enjoying it more and more. This year Gregory and I did probably year number, 4 for us? Yes, of the Eightfold Path class. And this amazes me. Every year we have like 25 or so people that want to do this class. And I keep thinking that it's going to run out. We're just going to run out of people at some point, but we don't seem to. And it's so lovely to come in there and have people want to learn about the Eightfold Path and leave and say it's changed their lives. And every time I hear that, I think, oh my gosh, we're actually doing something. At the beginning, it seems like, I don't know how it's going to touch people, but it really does. So Gregory and I are going to offer that again in the fall.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I have a couple of other things that I'll probably offer this year. I'm interested in doing a 4 Foundations of Mindfulness, maybe a 4-part series of 4 foundations. And I really would like to move into some teaching of the non-dual stuff that I've learned with Matt Flickstein. So I've been working with him. He's a teacher in Virginia that Robert also works with. And I've been in that for 5 years, I think.
This is a demonstration.
And that's something,
of
yes,
Wirecast.
It goes right along with these teachings that we've had here, and I just would like to find some format to do that in. So don't know what that's exactly going to look like, but anyway. And I'm going to speak for a few people. I'm going to speak for Jim about some of what his offerings are going to be. He's interested in leading this year a 1-day on the Brahma Viharas. That would be loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
And also something about aging as a spiritual practice. So, did you do that yesterday? Okay, well, it was on the list. He's already done it. He's efficient. And then, let's see what else. He's interested in doing an overview of the Eightfold Path, right? Is that what yeah. So maybe like on a Friday night or something. One of the ideas that we had was Friday night is a night that we usually don't do much. So maybe we would, have something on Friday night. And so he's thinking of doing an overview of the Eightfold Path. So it'd be kind of like just a general type of thing. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Doug. Robert had us write these all in beforehand, so I've got them here. He's going to continue doing the Basics of Mindfulness class. And he's going to maybe start an intermediate mindfulness class for people who have already taken the Basics of Mindfulness. This might look like a 5-week class with a day-long retreat.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And a self-compassion day-long. And also he's taken the non-dual training with me as well, and so he's interested in bringing non-dual teachings, maybe moving through concentration practice, insight practice, and into non-dual practices. So that sounds like a good list. And let's see, Doyle didn't talk about what he's doing, right? NVC, yep. He's going to do more skillful speech classes. He might do an intermediate and an advanced class in the wintertime. And then a 4-week on skillful speech for couples, potentially, or parents of adult children. So a couple ideas he has. Yeah. And then Gary and Gregory are they're going to speak, so don't need to speak for them. Thank you all. It's been just really lovely having you here, and we love seeing you in the classes and seeing you in the workshops and the sits. So, yeah.
Yay. Thank you, Christine.
Hi.
Hi, Gary.
Robert said keep this brief. So a couple of years ago, I did a 7-week deep dive into Meta series, and then that evolved into the Boundless Heart group that's been meeting for 2 years. And that has been a wonderful journey. If none of you have been to that before, we have an incredible, I call it Portland diverse, which means it's not super diverse, but it's more diverse than most places within Portland. We get a lot of new faces at Boundless Heart, so it's been a wonderful journey. And because it's been a couple of years, I do want to redo that class. I'm going to do a little different. So yeah, I hope to see you there. And I guess I'm going to have to arm wrestle Christine about doing a 4 Foundations class. But that's some of the teachers council meetings we
arm wrestle.
Yeah, we literally we have to fight over this stuff. So I want to do a class series on the Brahma Viharas, so kind of different, a deeper dive into the Brahma Viharas. I kind of have a theme with this stuff. When I first came to this center, the amount of love I felt from Robert and from the community is what drew me, and that's years ago I heard of liberation by beauty, this deep recognition about the beauty in life, and that's what just rings my bell. That's what I like to bring to all the stuff that I offer here. And as far as day-longs, I've done some training with David Elliott and with Breathworks, a very specific pranayama yoga breathing technique. So I want to do a day-long on Breathworks with meditation added in. And also, I'm super interested in offering mindfulness to teens, so I want to do a teen day-long if there's a demand. So if you have a teen that, obviously we see a lot of little kids that come here, but as far as teens, we don't see a whole lot. So if you have a teen that you think would be interested, I tend to resonate pretty well with younger kids, especially at-risk youth. So please see me after the meeting or contact me and let me know. Because I'm one of the founders of Refuge Recovery, I've been very involved with a Buddhist approach to recovery from addictions of all kinds. So I want to do a day-long specifically about the 5th precept in all addictions, not Refuge Recovery specific. I'm also very involved with 12 steps, so I want to approach it from all different angles. And
this is a demonstration of
I offered my list and I didn't get any feedback, so I'm going to say this one. I want to do a day long on the benefits of having a plant-based diet out of compassion for all beings. So, all right, yeah. So take that.
Funny.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I guess I want to say one other thing that it's really important to say. I want to thank you, Jennifer Letty, my wife and partner. This is embarrassing for her, of course, but I really wouldn't be sitting here without Jennifer's support. It's really having my home be a place where love and consciousness and really working, really having a relationship that we're really dug into, learning to care for each other is of the utmost important for me. When our relationship gets into difficult times, I still sit and but there's something that's much more difficult about life when that piece of it isn't functional for me. So I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. Not so long ago, we were up here with Ruth Dennison performing our wedding, and it was the longest but best wedding ever, in my view. So, Steph, do you want to speak a bit, Gregory? I think it's time for you. It's time for you.
Hi, I'm Gregory. I'll just say a few things. Robert and I have been talking about me helping him out with the admin aspect of our community for like 3 years. And it's been kind of like watching a wave growing in the distance. And it's like, is it time to get some help here? And I remember when I was first here, so I've been here for about 11 years, that we had the meetings, wasn't it Sunday evening at one point, Robert? It wasn't Sunday
at
morning,
the beginning.
Right? Yeah, and there would be like 20, 30 people, 50 would be a lot. And today we're like over 100. And it's just amazing to watch the growth over years of interest in mindfulness and all the support and generosity of this community. It's been amazing to watch. And so this is like a huge success for us that we have this problem of like all this work and we want to take it off Robert's plate. So I'm really excited about helping Robert to spend more time with you all with teaching and classes and Dharma support and helping this community move forward into the future.
Oh, that's at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just say briefly, another thing I'll be doing is that we've had enough people now that we're going to be adding another weekly meditation and Dharma talk. So I'll be leading that starting hopefully right at the beginning of summer. So that will be another group that's going to be starting. And then I'll be doing some workshops around the enlightenment factors and a couple day-longs and hopefully a class on concentration and jhana practice. Mm-hmm. So lots of stuff from all of us.
Say a little bit about the structuring that you want to do, the procedures and so on as we move into the future.
Oh, one of the things that Robert and I have been talking about, and Robert mentioned it earlier, is that we've come to see over time that Robert oftentimes is the only one who knows how this place actually works, like where things are, like light switches and electrical boxes, and when things flood, he's the only person we can come to for support. And so we realized that it might be time for some of that wisdom to be handed down along with the Dharma, so that more than one person knows how to turn on a light or refill the candles or stuff like that. So one of the things Avi and I are going to be working on is creating sort of a handbook that's going to take all of Robert's wisdom about how this place runs so we can all help out in the community to keep this place running. So I'm really excited about helping out with Robert with that, because I know there have been times where Robert's invited me to help out with something and I'm running around to a bunch of closets and rooms trying to figure out where things are, and I can't figure it out. It's like a labyrinth downstairs. So that sacred knowledge really is contained in this person over here. So we're going to take that sacred knowledge and disperse it to all of us so we can actually keep this place running. So I'm excited about working with Avi on that whole task. So. Initially, we were thinking that the class would be weekly. It would be on Wednesday night because Robert uses the big room and we'd use the living room.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We'll figure that out. Yay, Gregory, thank you. All right, the ramp. There are stages for such a big project. It's visioning with the community, fundraising, plans and permits, we are here, construction and celebration. The next screen is good. This is the center of the wheel of dependent origination. And this is really where we are. That was Laura's idea. Thank you, Laura. It's a beauty. We're chasing our tail. However, as of the last email I saw with our team, we have an engineer who's volunteering his time, and we have a drawing guy, and we have a builder, and the city takes plans, and you can see the plans if you look in the past. It's complicated. They want every nut and bolt. One of the corrections they wanted was that one of the footings looked like it was only 14 inches, and it really had to be 17 inches. I mean, they're looking at that level, and I sometimes I think, oh, the permit process. But you look around the world in the news, buildings fall down all the time because they've been poorly designed and poorly managed in the building. So our ramp is not going to fall down. It's going to the door will be right there behind Jennifer. And don't sit in front of the door, please. And the ramp will go out and down and then into the living room and then down to the front. We'll have a new gate and nice lights, and the building will be really accessible. And just a little bit of this information here. it looks as though the overall, with a contingency fund of 10%, it looks as though the thing's going to cost about $48,000. We raised 42,500. So we're pretty close, as projects are with this kind of thing. Sometimes you're not right on, but it's moving. And the builder says it could be done. The plans could be ready, in which case the builder will be on it within a month. And he says, this is not a big project. It's the ramps and a modification of the restrooms to make them ADA compliant and accessible. So once the building starts, he said it could be 2 or 3 weeks and then it will be done. Now that probably means 6. with it being building, Kyra, hi. Kyra had a building catastrophe that took a long time. But it's nice. It's done. Yay. All right. Next is from the Engaging the Dharma. Were you going to talk about that? Come on up. Okay. All right.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Can we do it in 5 minutes, do you think?
Yes.
Great.
Mine's like less than a minute, what I'm going to say.
All right. Yeah, wonderful. Oh. No. No, it won't work. Can you pass it back to me? This thing is a pain. Oh, no, we're on. Okay, good. You got it.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Anne Marie, and we
Wirecast.
are the volunteers of Engaging the Dharma, as well as a lot of you in the audience are participating in the group. We started, we're still in the process of it's sort of an organic process, but right now we're feeding women that are experiencing homelessness, and we've been to Jean's Place, which is a women's shelter, and we've done 2 dinners, and we've provided fresh fruit and vegetables and good meal planning, like a vegetarian gluten-free option. And so we've also sat down and hung out with the women that are there, and they're incredibly grateful and just really touched that we are there. And often they're eating processed foods from the Oregon Food Bank, and they're not too thrilled about that. But so we're also interested in other projects too, and so we welcome you to come and talk to us and maybe come to our meeting, which is April 10th. So I'm going to give it to Tia now. Next Sunday. The 14th. April 14th.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
After the potluck. So I wanted to say a little something about how this whole project got started last October with several individuals from this Sangha who are really interested in taking the Dharma off the cushion and doing something that made a difference, something meaningful in the community. And so this is still called an initiative because we're still trying things. And this feeding of women at Jean's Kitchen is one focus we're doing right now. We also had a nonviolent communication workshop to help us in our action in the world take that with us. And so it's really about this balance between sitting and being, and then going out into the world and doing it and maintaining that balance, because we all get stressed out when we're out in the world and we're trying to be compassionate, and sometimes it doesn't, it falls through. And then we have to come back to the cushion and refuel ourselves. So this Engaging the Dharma initiative is about doing a little bit of both, and we're trying to figure out how that works. So we have a Google forum where people can share activities and events and inspiration, quotes, things like that we invite you to join. And we would like to do more educational activities, so put skills in our pockets for when we go out there into the world. We're continuously reevaluating what we're doing with the cooking at Jean's Kitchen, if we want to be feeding people, continuing to do that, where, when, how. And then also there's been some talk about local outreach with environmental issues. and as well as reinvigorating this sanghas. And so there's a lot of ideas and inspirations, and we really invite you to come join us and share your ideas next Sunday. And the three of us and Rose Madrone are sort of the core group leading this effort. So please come talk to us. I'm Tia, Anne-Marie, Melanie, and Rose. Thank you.
Yay. You should mention Tricia Anderson, who was she kind of brought that together.
Wirecast.
She's off doing a service project in Guatemala and then further from there. So she'll be back. Aha, Doug. Doug Ross, our esteemed the number guy, our treasurer.
Well, this is
I want to say one more thing before you. No, I got this. Doug, I forget. It's not so long ago. It's years, of course. But Doug came on the board with his financial expertise, and we really needed that in order to bring this organization into modernity. And his guidance has been really invaluable in setting up funds correctly and in sequestering some things so that we have them for the long haul, and in thinking more skillfully about money, which is an important part of the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a demonstration
well, this is really more of the
Wirecast.
celebration here that we're seeing. This is more of a celebration of you, and these are sort of the results of that. This is last year in review, and I guess the important part is just to say, do you see these numbers, how close they are in budget and how well? That's been going on for 2 or 3 years. This community's really stepped up to what the plan has been. We're going to talk in a second about what the plan is going to be for this year, but it's so important to see that this is very, very successful just on kind of the backbone,
of Wirecast.
nuts and bolts administrative end too, and you've heard other plans that are going on to shore up that more. I want to take a pause here because when we were looking at the staffing, there's one more community member that's really part of the staffing that creates the backbone of that, and that's Cricket. Sits right back
That's
there.
right.
Wave your hand, Cricket.
That's right.
She really pulls these numbers together each time for us.
That is an oversight, and I'm sorry. You should be on that previous thing. We will fix it.
There you go.
This is a
So
demonstration of
the way we
Wirecast.
look at the structure here, and it's kind of really nice, the people that come before, the people that put this in place, that Robert and crew that have been mentioned before, this building has a whole office structure underneath that we rent. And that structure really provides the backbone financially that covers all the rent and utilities for us, which is really nice. So when we do Dana here in our classes and so on, it's giving right back to ourselves. That's what it is, because the structure just sort of takes care of itself. It's a wonderful financial model that's here that's been put together. So it really, we've got things really covered here from a financial standpoint. But as you can see from the growth today, this is more people than I've ever seen here personally, and we just had to keep putting people upstairs. I don't know if you on the floor can see that upstairs is full now too. It's completely full up there. Every cushion's taken, every chair. So there's growth going on, you've heard it, and so this year we're going to be expanding the budget also.
Of Wirecast.
But I wanted to show you one more thing that I think is part of the next slide,
page,
if
yeah.
I remember. This is your part here too. Yes, your part. This. Oh. Yes.
Oh, hang on.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. Hi, I'm Laura. I'm on the board as well. And maybe some of you are like me, that the one line that's under, you're like, dang it, right? Everything else can be good, but that one line. And look at this line here. Like, our actual Donna was a little bit under for this year. And I thought, oh, man. Then we looked at the whole thing. Look at this for last year, guys. We raised $42,000 in addition to $75,000, which was our average. Meaning last year we jumped up our stewardship to $117,000. Thank you, everybody in this room, the people who weren't in this room to make that happen. The generosity of this community is really unbelievable. So I want, there we go. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out and really say thank you, and thank you to the members of the fundraising committee who've been kind of dogging this along here as well. So congratulations and thank you to everybody.
Okay, now. You can press
Oh,
the button
next.
now. Yeah.
Let's leave it this way. There we go.
So here's this year's budget. And basically it's the same except for our expansion that we've been talking about. You've been hearing about it all morning this morning, about the additional staff, about all additional classes and so on. And so there is an upswing in the Donna classes and all that stuff. So our budget is growing about 10% this year. So this is really good. Mm-hmm. And so this is our plan for this year. We intend on posting this to actuals kind of in the hallway here and probably on the website as things go along, so we can keep track of where we're at and how we're doing and our new plans. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I want to go off script. Melanie, who's been running the housekeeping here for so many years. And oftentimes when things don't get done, she, perhaps foolishly, but devotedly, comes and does them. And I'm afraid in saying that there's other people. So many of you have given so mightily to make this place happen. Kirsten, this last several years as our volunteer coordinator. I mean, one of the things, and this is a piece that Gregory and I have talked about, many of the people who've come to volunteer have seen, oh, this needs to be better organized, and have created a system, like Kirsten put together a wonderful online system for volunteers to sign up. And that's happened in all kinds of different spheres. Actually, I have a funny story from a long time ago, before we had the building. I was maintaining the mailing list. And maintaining mailing lists then wasn't quite like it is now. And I didn't want to let anyone else do it. And then finally, someone came along who happened to be a librarian at one of the big hospitals. She was the head of the library at one of the hospitals. And she managed to get it out of my hands. And guess what? She did it way better than I ever did. And she created a system for it. And so I really want to thank all of you that have contributed to making things more stable and long-lived. And Cricket, thank you for doing the bookkeeping. We've gotten better, haven't we? Cricket used to have to harass me particularly, but obvious secondarily. There's 2 receipts on the credit card we need information from, but now I'm getting better. And I want to thank Marla for being our artist in residence, and and everywhere she goes, she just drops art. And it's true, you come in the back door and you see Marla's art, and it's quite something.
This is a demonstration of
So to all of you who have been contributing so beautifully, and fundamentally contributing your practice, really. It's people sometimes, people are so appreciative and devotional toward a teacher, and they say, well, how can I ever repay you? And the traditional answer to that is, well, you repay that every time you practice. Because that's our product, is loving consciousness. That's our purpose.
This
so
is a demonstration
every time you actually take one more moment and notice the mind wandering and come back and are more present with your child or your workplace or whatever, that's the fruit. So, Gregory. This is too.
You also have the picture of the broken part. Do you have the other one that we were?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
I didn't know what to anticipate.
No, so that's the start, and then there's this, which is the.
Oh yeah. So
Jeez. Not. Is it? Touch the. This thing, I sure wish we had I know, it's just test one. I don't know why.
Pause?
It's paused.
Hello? Okay, here we go. So we were trying to come up with an image. At the board meeting, we were trying to figure out how are we going to pull this all together, and someone mentioned the three-legged stool, which is this image that we have in the three parts of the Dharma, which is wisdom, virtue, and generosity. And so we were going online trying to find an appropriate picture of a three-legged stool, and that's the winner of that contest was this one here. And we did find a couple that were lacking a leg and falling over, which was interesting as well. So because the idea is that if we miss one of the legs of the part of the Dharma, then it doesn't work. So our first one is our wisdom part, which is our practice, right? It's the training of the heart and mind. This is our meditation practice. Virtue is, of course, our precepts, our intention to do no harm, our intention to be authentic and kind and loving. And then the third part is our generosity. When we were talking about these three parts of the Dharma in the context of moving forward as an organization and as a spiritual community, what I noticed was that all three parts are actually generosity. When we practice meditation and we open up our hearts and minds, when we become more compassionate and more honest and more virtuous in the sense of doing less harm, that's a gift of self-compassion to us, and it impacts every person that we come in contact with. So the whole legacy of the Dharma really is loving kindness. It is this act of generosity. The practice is self-compassion, which makes us more awake and aware, and then we spread that out into the community, especially with our Dharma initiative, with this outreach. Because of generosity, we now have enough people where we can have these types of services at PIMC that we've never been able to sustain for very long. When I was here in the beginning, we never had a volunteer coordinator. It was just like a list that was kind of handwritten and tacked on the wall, and you kind of tried to figure out what was needed, and there was no organization around it. So the fact that we're growing is because of our generosity and how generous this community is. And it really strikes me that every time we show up, I've been talking about this in the Eightfold Path class with Christine, that showing up is Sangha. Showing up is our gift to ourselves and our gift to each other to support each other in practice. So every Sunday when we pack this place, this is an act of generosity. We could be anywhere today doing anything, but here we are, 100 people sitting in a room talking about being more loving, being more awake and aware, and continuing that on into the future. And that just really, I just think that's just amazing. When you think of the terms of Dharma and lineage, we're all here because of everybody's generosity in this room, right? We are supporting each other and connecting in spiritual friendship. We're all here because of Robert's generosity, right? Robert is here because of Ruth's generosity. Ruth is a teacher because of the generosity of her teacher, Ubakin. When I met with Ruth down at her place at Dhammadena before she passed away, it was interesting because you walk in here and we have Ruth's name above the door, and we have pictures of Ruth. And then when I was at Ruth's Center, there's pictures of her teacher, Ubakin, that's in the Dharma Hall. And you see this connectivity of generosity that's been handed down. And Ubakin had his teacher and his teacher before that. So we have this entire legacy over 2,000 years of teacher to student, of this generous offering of wisdom, virtue, and giving that opens the heart and mind. And we have these communities that sprout up in that spirit. And we are now an example of a living, breathing Dharma center that's now really taken root in Southeast Portland, of all places. So the invitation here for the future is to connect, learn, participate, give, and volunteer, all which is essentially this act of spiritual practice and compassion. And we're all very excited about moving forward into the future. And I was thinking about it the other day. With a little bit of luck and a lot of love, 100 years from now, 50 years from now, this hall, it could be filled with meditators that none of us have ever met, and who can be sitting here thinking, there was a previous generation of meditators who gave, and it's because of that giving that this place is still here, and they can walk into a center and have the same experiences that we're having. So this future of PIMC is not just about what we're experiencing day to day, but it really is this idea that down the line, what will we leave behind as a meditation center? Well, there's a lot of people who've walked through these halls that are no longer with us, and there's going to be people that walk in that we'll never know, but the spirit of our generosity will be here waiting for them. And what do we want that spirit to look like? So that's how I see our moving forward into the future, and I'm really excited about that.
Wow. He's good at this, isn't he? Fantastic. The lotus has been a symbol in Buddhism for 2,600 years, because that's one of the teachings of the Buddha, that lotuses grow in the most muddy of ponds. They start out from the mud and they come up and then they blossom above the water, and they're so perfect and beautiful and gorgeous, kind of like us. So we have a song to close with. Oh yes, come up. Sorry. Yikes. You bet. Thank you, Kirsten. Just lost.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I don't know how many of you know how lucky we are. Gee, I'm coming to tears, I'm sorry. How lucky we are to have this place. I travel to other parts of the country for different things that I'm involved in, and I go down into the Bay Area, and we know about Spirit Rock, but do you know that other than that, there are very few places where you can go and meditate? And I will get a hold of different groups, and I will find out that we meet on Wednesday evening in this particular church that we use on this night. And we use a room that's normally a classroom and has whatever all over. There isn't a building that's there that they can go to regularly, that they can say, I want to go on Wednesday, or I want to go on Tuesday, or I want to go on Saturday, or just stop by sometime. We don't know how fortunate we are to have this building and have all of the different selections of meditation times that we can get together, of classes, that we can choose to have a class on Wednesday night. We can choose to have a class on Friday. We can choose to have it in the afternoon or the morning.
This is a demonstration
Supporting this
of
is so
Wirecast.
important to our practice.
Thank you.
Hi. So Robert asked me yesterday if I would talk at this meeting a little bit about volunteers. And part of that is that I did announce this, but I got into Naropa for graduate school, and I'll be leaving. So thank you. I'm really delighted and also simultaneously sad. Gosh, I was a mess listening to Doyle. Oh, just crying. I will be going, so that means we're going to need someone to step in. And we've had a few people come forward for interest, and I just want you to know that we, like as Robert has been saying, we've kind of been growing up as a community, and things need to be more sustainable. And so that's part of why I've brought in the sign-up tool that a lot of you are getting familiar with. And when I first started 3.5 years ago in this role, it was like, so I asked Kate, I think at the time, like, so what do I do? And she was like, well, you just kind of help people connect to things. And I was like, okay. So Ruth and I, another woman named Ruth Woodward was helping at the time. And Kate helped a lot to figure out what we needed to do. And I'm I'm an organizer. I really like to make things clear. And so I'm creating a job description for the volunteer coordinator job. And then we're going to want to interview people. Wow, to actually kind of see if it's the right fit, if it's the person who's willing to step up, and also for that person to really understand what this role is and what it's required of it. And there's lots of creativity in this role. There's a lot of space for it to change and grow as the community changes and grows. So all of that's really important, and I will have that job description for you very soon. And in addition to that, I tried to run a report before today, but I didn't have a lot of notice, so I didn't get it quite ready for you. But I know that currently in our sign-up that we use, there's more than 70 volunteers that are in there, that are active, that are doing things. That's huge, and I'd love to tell you next week what the hours are once I get that report. But it's everything that happens here needs volunteer support. And so someone in this role, it's very important to have an overlap with me so I can really help you learn how to do it, and then also you can grow it from there, which I would be delighted to help you on that journey. And I just want you to know on a personal note that I will be back here regularly, though I'll be living in Boulder for the next 3 years, so yeah.
Let's just drop into silence for a couple of minutes. Plopping into the body in all its aliveness.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
The Sangha, the community of practice, this remarkably self-supporting community of interlocking needs and support for those needs. And please now, if you have a question that you'd like to put to any of us
This is a
that you've heard
demonstration
from,
of Wirecast.
please maybe raise your hand and the microphone will come to you so that we can continue this conversation. We have about another maybe 10 minutes before we do our closing song. Anybody? Want me to run the microphone? Yeah, great. Please, test one. Thank you, Avi.
This is a
I forgot to say the most
demonstration of
important thing I
Wirecast.
wanted to about volunteering, which is, Gregory mentioned it. When you volunteer, there's accountability for your practice. And when you dive in and start doing more, that was the biggest reason I wanted to do this role, was accountability for myself, but also to know you all more deeply. And when you've got people around you who are doing the same thing, as we all know who are here, it makes it easier to keep your practice regular. So that's the last thing.
This is a demonstration
Hi, I'm
of
KB.
Wirecast.
Thank you guys so much for everything. You're a treasure. There's a class I'd love to have. I've learned a little bit about the Eightfold Path, thanks to these two. And I would like to have a class where I can learn to practice it, like actually hands-on, the way we do with skillful speech for that one path. But I'd love to be able to, okay, I was in this situation and I wanted to get here, and could I have done it better by using the Eightfold Path as my guide?
Thank you. Good idea.
Hi, I'm Wally. About 4 years ago when I started coming here, I really didn't know anybody and felt very odd about being here, and looked around at a bunch of faces I didn't know, and then I volunteered. And suddenly the doors opened up. Melanie, thank you. And I began to become friends and connected with many, many people here.
Wirecast.
So if you want to find an entryway into this community, volunteer, and the doors will start opening.
Hi everyone, my name is Monty, and I've been coming for maybe about a year and a half or so, off and on. Really inspired by today. My question was, I saw on one of the slides mention of classes and retreats, and I just was wondering if someone could say something about that, anything that's planned for retreats.
We have begun, as of 6 months ago, every first Saturday of the month, there's a one-day retreat. And there have been, I did a one-day retreat/class focused on, it was called Remembering Death. And part of our plan is to have more of those regularly. And I teach retreats at Brighton Bush, 5-day retreats.
This is a demonstration
recently
of
did a new one that I'm going to do, I think 2 of next year, out in Gates, just west of Portland. And then I teach a couple of retreats in Canada each year. So those are possibilities. But we want to have more, practice here. So, and we can now. There's a dilemma. Please go ahead, take the mic. There's a dilemma arising, which is as we look at classes and so on, we're going to run out of space.
This is a
And so there are
demonstration
several
of
churches nearby.
Wirecast.
We'll rent space from them, a block away or 2 blocks away. So we don't have to be contained by the limits of our center for the moment.
Hi, I'm Tia. As a parent of a 6-year-old, I find many of the retreats and classes inaccessible to me at this point in my life. And I volunteer and I am involved that way. And I've gone to a couple one-day Saturday retreats that I could do here and there.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
But I would really like a bigger discussion about families, family retreats, family classes, something where we can connect on a more regular basis. Maybe celebrations, more fun, less serious.
Right, good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Anna. It's my first time here, but I
This
am
is a
long-term,
demonstration
I have
of
long-term
Wirecast.
meditation practice at home. I actually have a practical question regarding kids as well. I have a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old, and I know that there is a children's program here, and I was wondering if there's a way to access that curriculum to kind of see what they do there, and then also at what point, I don't know, during adolescence, are they welcome to come into this area as well?
Our children's program is in
This is a
hiatus right now,
demonstration
though
of
there's kids and
Wirecast.
parents back there right now, I think. It surprised me because we don't have a teacher. We're in the process of hiring a teacher, and there's a couple of bright spots looking. We might have a teacher very soon. We've not successfully had a program for teens. That's a developmental process that we may be able to pull off, don't know. And there's a binder. We've been doing a children's program for almost 15 years. And there's a binder of activities and so on, but not really a highly developed curriculum.
This is a demonstration of
So
Wirecast.
when we have the person, the way PIMC has worked, when we have the person who is capable of that, a curriculum will emerge.
So then again, my question is, at what point are they coming towards adulthood? Are they welcome to come and
They're welcome to come in here anytime they can sit.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and they don't have to sit still. You can move a little bit too, right? But no pads, no screens. I have to have some limits. So
This is a demonstration of
Yes.
Wirecast.
Hands pointing different ways. Oh, okay. Okay, one back here.
So a couple more questions, and then we'll need to move on.
Thank you for everything that you guys do. I'm Peter from the Couve, and I always add that little moniker because I was hoping that if anybody lives up there and you'd like to put together, what are they called? Satellite?
Spiritual friends groups.
Yeah, spiritual friends group. I would love to
This is a
be involved with that.
demonstration
If
of
anybody lives up
Wirecast.
in towards the Fisher's Landing area of the wonderful Vancouver. Not to be confused with Vancouver, Canada, but still a great place.
One more person? Anybody else? Misty.
Hi, my name is Misty, and I adore this place. I adore everyone here. I'm really grateful
This is a demonstration
for the
of
space and for the
Wirecast.
teachers and for the Sangha and the Dharma. And one of the things that I have been interested in as a community is moving beyond the Portland diversity that Gary mentioned earlier, finding ways to become more diverse. So that's a conversation that I think has been kind of ongoing, kind of off, I don't know how much it's been, on and off or whatever, but I would like to keep that conversation going and make some action happen.
This
Amen.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
All right. Anybody bursting with a question that you'd like to ask or comment? All right. Kirsten, come on up. A familiar tune. I need to plug your cable in. It got pulled.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
All right, that should be on. Why don't we stand for this? Oh, and the kids are going to come in. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the kids, actually. We'll see.
Well, there's a few that showed up and their parents are with them. So if somebody wants to go grab them, that would be great. Yeah.
Of Wirecast.
They're just with their parents.
This one's K
Hmm?
This one's 4.
4.
Yeah.
4.
I don't think that we need to teach you the chorus on this one. It's pretty simple, and you've probably done it before. So.
And it's all up there. Okay, good.
You all right?
Yep.
Cool.
Go.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, please tap on my pedal. There we go.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Feel free to grab a hand on this one.
We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
We shall overcome one time.
Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Yay. Well, find hands. Let's not try to make a circle, but find some hands to hold on to. I would think a circle's too big.
This is a demonstration
I need another
of
hand.
Wirecast.
All right. There we go. Huh? Right. Please let us call to the altar of our hearts our teachers and mentors and all those giants of human life upon whose shoulders we stand. None of us would be here without
This is a demonstration of
our
Wirecast.
parents, as complicated as those relationships were. All of our teachers from school and everywhere. I invite to the altar of our hearts Ruth Dennison. She would like this. She would really like this.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Please give a feel to the hand to your right. Notice the contact, the warmth, contact, the coolness. Give this hand a little squeeze and wish this person well. And notice someone is very sneakily, while you're paying attention elsewhere, wishing you well. So let's change the polarity to the person on your left and give that hand a squeeze.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We have these amazing human minds, and we can be run by them, or we can use them to wake up and bring love and compassion and joy into the world. Let's turn this mysterious consciousness in the outward direction to each other and to all beings. Beings in this city, beings in every city. Beings of the air, the earth, and the waters.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Let us wish them well. Let's be just a little traditional today. There's a chant that's been done for 2,600 years. The words are Bhavatu, Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Let's say it together. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. One more time. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. It's the end of the Mangalam Sutta, in which it's may all beings receive all blessings. It's not, as we translate, may all beings be happy, not the mood happy, but may all beings wake up and be free. So Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam, and then Sadhu, which is easy, which means may it be thus, or it is so. So we'll sing them 3 times each.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
And think about what we're singing and the intention of connecting this to all beings. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Please let us now be aware of opening the eyes. And to the degree that is comfortable, let your eyes rove around the room and meet other eyes. Consciousness meeting consciousness. So at the end of this gathering, moments from now, please be invited to come through into the living room, where there's tea and coffee and some goodies and some very nice people that are really worth getting to know.
This is a
And so now the
demonstration of
experiment,
Wirecast.
for the umpteenth time. Do you think that this holding of hands is permanent or impermanent? So really connect, and let's really carry it out. It could surprise us. So, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Impermanent again. How do you like that? The Buddha was right. We need to conscript some people near the candle to make a wish and blow out the candle. Thank you all for coming. Very appreciative.
Of Wirecast.
Thank you all for participating, my dear members.